Right. Okay. So this is the first question is about the gates, right? The question says a main road crosses two parallel railways line X and Y. An alarm bell should ring when a train enters the danger area of any of the lines from any direction, right? So as the figure shows, so like the danger area is marked in the dotted lines, and they have two railway lines. So the alarm is there to alert whenever a train is entered to the danger area in either of the railways from X or Y, right? And it's saying the truth table below is given to indicate the operation of alarm bell. So there is P and Q, and in the note this says a train has entered or not entered the danger area of line X. So uh, P means a train has entered. So this particular variable indicates whether the train is entered or not. So entered indicated by 1, not entered indicated by 0. So if you consider the first column, first two rows are not entering, and next two columns, next two rows are entering the train into the X line. So the main line එකට train එකක් එන එක indicate වෙන්නේ මේ තර දෙනාගේ. Right, so the same very same way Q indicates again whether it is entering or not, right? So then what they are asking is what should be the output, the state of the bell, how it's going to be. So the state of the bell, when the bell is ringing, it indicates 1. When the bell is not ringing, it indicates 0. So if we consider this as a truth table, so 0 means train has not entered to the X, neither to the Y. So no bell will be ringing. And when the second row, there is no train in the X line, but there is a train in the Q line, so bell should ring. And in the third row, there is a train in the X line, but no train in the Y line, still bell should ring. And in the last row, it got trains in both the lines. So anyway, bell should ring, right? So your output is going to be like this. So 0.5 for each line, right, of the of this particular, out of these particular 4 lines. So have your marks, and let me take the marking scheme as well. Yeah, this is how it happens. Right. Okay, so moving to the second, a basic rule in Boolean algebra is this particular thing, x plus x bar equals 1. This rule can be proved using a logic circuit with a 2-input OR gate and NOT gate. Draw the relevant logic circuit diagram to illustrate the proof of the above rule. So what they're asking you to draw is a circuit for this particular thing. So when you are drawing a circuit, you are going to consider this particular expression, x plus x bar, right? So it's going to be an easy one. So you should have a x line, and if this is x, so from the same line you can take another and put a NOT gate, which gives you X bar. So this got X now, this got X bar, and it is going to go inside a O gate. So this is going to be your circuit, right? So you don't really need to mark what is X and what is X bar. So considering this is X and output should be 1 because it says it's equals to 1, right? So if you got this kind of a circuit, you are going to have 2 marks. And it is what the marking scheme is showing as well, right? And even X plus X bar is okay for the output. So 2 marks if you got it correct. If you got anything wrong, you are not going to have any marks, right? So it is 2 or 0. Right. Then the third one, a tourist takes photographs of interesting places in Sri Lanka using the built-in carrier. Yeah, a tourist takes photograph of interesting places in Sri Lanka using the built-in camera of his tablet computer and save the captured image on the hard disk of the device. Later, he edits the image using the touch screen and copies them to a USB drive. Identify and write down 2 input devices and 2 storage devices using the above scenario. Yeah, so which is simple, right? 2 input devices and 2 storage devices. Tourist takes photograph of interesting places in Sri Lanka using the built-in camera. So built-in camera is going to be an input device of his tablet computer and save the captured images on the hard disk. So hard disk is going to be another storage device. Later, he edits the image using touchscreen. Touchscreen is going to be an input device. And store it and copies them to the USB drive. Again, this is going to be the storage device, right? So yeah, built-in camera and touchscreen. It should come on green name. Built-in camera and touchscreen is going to be the inputs. Hard disk and USB drive is going to be the outputs, right? So yeah, marking scheme is saying the same. And next one, to identify what's the network type of these particular scenarios or these particular arrangements. It says, consider the following scenario. A bank provided internet banking facility to its customers to transfer money, pay bills such as electricity and telephone. So when the bank is providing e-banking facility to the customers, it's going to be all over the world, right? So it's going to create a very huge network where we can consider it as a WAN, or in other words, wide area network. Why says an organization use an isolated computer network within a building, and it says without any connection to the outside world. It specifically said that, right? And so it means it's a very small geographical area an organization using an isolated computer network, it says, within a building. So it's a limited geographical area and no connections to the outer world. So it has many reasons to name it as a LAN, local area network. And eventually, so obviously, the Z is going to be the MAN, a network linking a head office of a company in Colombo with its branches in the city. Right, so a network linking head office of a company in Colombo with its branches in the city. So that means it is a MAN which is bigger than the LAN, but smaller than the van. And the fifth one says convert the binary to the equivalent octal number. Show your steps. So, which is a very easy one, right? So here comes the binary. So if we need to convert this into an octal, starting from the right hand side, we are going to group these things. Like a group should consist 3 bits, and these 3 bits should consider as a small binary value and should be converted into its decimal equivalent, right? So this is 1, 2, and 4 that we are talking about, right? So here the binary symbols will be having the same place values, right? So in this case, what we are doing, අපි එක තියෙන තැන්වල තියෙන place value එක අරගන්නවා, බිඳුව තියෙන බිඳුව කෙලින් තියෙන place value එක අරගන්නේ නැහැ, right? එක binary නිසායි අපි එහෙම කරන්නේ, නැත්නම් we need to multiply it and take, right? So this is going to be 4 plus 1, which means 5. This is going to be just 2, no 4s, no zeros, because both are having zeros above those things. And this is going to be 2 plus 1, which is 3. So 3, 2, 5 in octal is going to be the answer. And marking scheme says the same thing. And remember, when you are doing it, you must have the base value, which is 8. Otherwise, you are not going to take marks. So 2 marks for that. All right, people, tell me, how was it? Is it clear so far? Right, great. Okay. All right, so moving forward. In the 6th, it says, in the ASCII code, the letter A is represented as decimal 65. Determine the binary representation of letter D. So when it comes to the ASCII, you should remember your representation should be in 7 bits. Now, if you convert this 65, eventually you are taking 7 bits anyway. But if you are given a value like 17, it won't give you a 7-bit representation, so you have to make it 7, right? So first of all, 65. And when you are converting this 65, I think I have said you the shorter way, like writing the place values. You can use that as well. I'm going to do it from that because then අනිත් විදිය ඔයගලන්ට මතකයිනේ 65 දෙකෙන් බෙදලා යටි ඉඳලා උඩට ලියන එකනේ. So මේකත් හුරු වුණොත් ඔයගලන්ට කාලය ඉතිරි කරගන්න පුළුවන්. So I'm writing the place values 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. So in this case, I need only 7 place values because my number is going to represent in 7 bits. So how I'm going to make 65 out of these values, which is a very easy one. 64 is having 1 and 1 is having 1. So it gives you 65. All others are 0. So this will equals to the 65, right? Which represents A. And for B, C, and D, so it's going to be 65, going to be 66, 67, and 68. So now we are going to make 68 out of these place values, the black color ones. So how we are going to make the 68? 64 is going to have a 1, and you need a 4. So 68 is created. So all other places are going to be zeros, right? So this is the answer for the representation of D. in ASCII. And I'll go through the representation methods as well, right? How was those? So like BCD is having 4 bits, use only to indicate numbers. And then we have ASCII having 7 bits. And then we have EBCDIC, extended binary coded decimal interchange. So it contains 8 bits. And finally, we have Unicode, which had 16 and growing. Right, so yeah, people just confirm whether you got this. Yeah, Sayuri, now converting decimals into binary in BCD is going to give you a quite different way of doing it though, because BCD is having 4-bit values, right? So like if you take an example like this, so if you ask to convert 123 in decimal into the BCD. So in BCD, what we have done is we have written one particular symbol using 4 bits, right? Let me mark this as 920. So now what we are going to do is we are going to write this particular symbol, the decimal symbol, using 4 bits of binary. So that contains 1, 2, 4, and 8 place values. So you can create 9, like 1, 1, having 0, 0. So each and every symbol is going to have a BCD code like that. So 2, when it comes to 2, this is going to be 1, 2, 4, 8, the place values. So here you are going to have 1, others are 0. If it is 3, then you are going to use what? 1, 2, 4, 8 as the place values. So 3 is going to be 1, 1, and 0, 0. So when you are writing the BCD, you have to write it from left to right, right? So starting from 1, 0, 0, 1. So your BCD is going to be like this. This is going to be the BCD. Got it, Sairi? Right, great. Okay, so what I was telling you previously, to be careful with the ASCII code representation, in case if you have said the value of the A is 27 something. Question එක කියලා තිබ්බනම් A කියන්නේ 27 කියලා. So how we are going to represent 27 right over here? We need a 16, we need 8, it is 24, and we need another 3. So 2 and 1 will be there. So this is going to give you 27. But it is not a ASCII representation because it only contains 5 bits. So you have to fill the front or the first 2 bits using a 0. So this particular code will represent 27. Right? ඔයගලන්ට ASCII වලින් represent කරන්න කිව්වොත් විභාගෙදී අනිවාර්යෙන් bits 7ක් පාවිච්චි කරන්න ඕනේ. That is a must. Right? Okay. So be careful because this math is too easy. in the same way, you have more room to make a mistake, right? Okay, so we are moving to the 8th question. Consider the following figure showing a male sent to Pial, Najima, Meena, Tony, Kamala, and Asiri by Secretary of Chess Club of the school. So as you can see, there are 2 recipients which we consider as the main recipients. There are CC, carbon copy recipients, who will be informed, and the CCs can see the 2 as well as 2 can see the CCs, right? But not the BCCs, right? BCC ka require 2 ayata pennit naha, CC ayata pennit naha. And BCC people, blind carbon copy recipients, can see both 2 and CCs, right? So they can see these people, these 2 people who are the main recipients and who are the people that has a carbon copy, right? So no one can see a BCC, even these 2. Kamala can't see the RCD, RCD can't see the Kamala, right? They are separated as well. So Kamala receive a mail and Kamala can see these 4 people as well as Asiri. But Asiri won't see this mail has sent to the Kamala, and Kamala won't see this mail has sent to the Asiri. Right? So that is the base. That is the basic. So let's see what they have asked. Yeah. So they are asking us to write the true and false. Yes. Right. So it says Kamala sees that the mail was sent to Asiri. Kamala sees the mail was sent to Asiri. So Kamala is in the BCC. Mail was sent to Asiri. So yes, Kamala can see that. So that is a true. Meena sees that the mail also sent to Piala and Asiri. Meena is in the CC position. So Meena can see it is sent to the Pial, but not to the Asiri. Right? So it is false because of Asiri. And Tony sees that the mail was also sent to Meena. Tony is in the CC, Meena is in the CC. So yes, they can see. And PL sees the mail was also sent to Najima. PL is in 2, Najima is in 2 position. Yes, it is true again. Right. So let's check the marking scheme. It says true, false, true, true. Yeah. So as true, false, true, true. So for the previous one, you can see they got the same answer as we calculated. So 2 marks. So for this true, false things, they take 0.5 for each correct answer. Hold on. It says false, false, true, true. Hold on. Why the first one is going to be false? Kamala says the mail was also sent to the. No. I'm sorry. Kamala and Asiri in the BCC area. Yes, the first one is false, people. My mistake. අපි කලින් කතා කරේ BCC දෙන්නට එකිනෙකාව පේන්නේ BCC 10ක් යවුවොත් they only sees their BCC one only, not the other BCC people. Right? So the first one is false because Kamala can't see the Asiri. Kamala can see only the people in the 2 and CC. Right? Every BCC recipient will be able to see the people in 2 and CC and their self. Right? එයාට එවලා තියෙනවා කියලා පේනවා BCC එක්කනට එවලා කියලා පේනවා 2 එකට 2 එකේ F එක කාටද CC කරේ කාටද කියන එක පේනවා. That's all. Not the other BCCs if there is any. Right, so it's false, false, true, true, false, false, true, true. Yes. Yeah, so the next one, it is regarding the icons and the names. The names are given at below, so they just want you to match it. So the first one is the crop tool. Second one, we call it fuzzy as well as magic wand. So magic wand is there. Right, and third one, it's the stamp tool, or in your case, it's the clone tool. So make it in, yeah, clone stamp tool is there, so you should be able to pick it up. So clone stamp. And the fourth one, I can give you the marks for this particular thing because a hand tool is not there, right? Oh, let me check. I really don't remember, but I need to check. Yeah, no, you don't have. So I can give marks for the very last one, for the fourth one, but first three things should be there, right? Crop tool, magic wand, clone stamp. So for that, if you got correct first three categories or like first three icons, so you can have all 2 marks, right? Disregard the fourth one. For the fourth one, it's the hand tool, Leandro. It's the hand tool, which cannot be found in our gym tool toolbox. Right, moving forward, the 9th one, consider the following 2 categories, A and B. Category A consists of some activities of the system development lifecycle, and while category B contains some terms relevant to the activities listed under category A. Yeah, so like we have to match these things. So in your book, you don't have anything called feasibility study, but you have all other 3, coding, system analysis, and system design. So when it comes to the coding, it's going to go with the programming language. And when it comes to the system analysis, you are going to do the interviews. And when you are doing the system designing, you are going to design the interface. So that makes the feasibility study connects with the R, right? So for one it is S, for 2 it is R, for 3 it is Q, and for 4 it is P. S, R, Q, P, right? Am I correct? S, R, Q, and P. Yes. So marking scheme says, yeah, S, R, Q, P, right? So it goes the same way. Right, so you can have 0.5 for each correct matching, right? S for 1, R for 2, Q for 3, and P for 4. Okay, moving to the last question of the first question. last part of the first question. Right, so it is talking about consider the execution of the following code segment contained in a while loop. Copy the above table to your answer sheet and fill the using values for sum and n after the execution of each cycle in the while loop. After a bold color, right? So if you go through this, in the first column, they say cycle number. Right, so at the very initial stage, අපි hand trace කරනකොට අපි පටන් ගන්නේ sum equals 0 කියලා n equals 16 කියලා නේද? ඒක අපිට මේ table එකට දාන්න බෑ මේ cycle number 1 කියන එක කෙලින් දාගන්න බෑ because they are talking about the cycle which happens in here. Right, so what we can do is we can take sum as 0 at the top and n as 16. So these two is done on that manner. So then it says while n larger than or equal 10, yeah, n is larger than 10, which is 16, sum equals sum plus n. So that means 0 plus 16 is going to be the sum. So instead of 0, you are going to have 16 now. Right, then it says n equals n minus 2. So n is 16, so 16 will become 14. Then since it is at the since it is the very last line of the while, it goes up and check the condition again. So n is larger than or equal 10, it is. So sum will be added with n. 16 plus 14 give you 30. Right, and since you have to fill up this particular table, don't cut these things down. අපි hand trace කරනකොට තමයි cut කර බල යන්නේ. So කපා ගන්න එපා. what පැටලෙනවා නම් it's better you use a pencil and cut it down. Later you will erase those things. Right, so it's 30 and will be reduced by 2, so it will become 12. Goes up again and checks. So n is larger than 10, so sum and n will be added, 42, and 12 will become 10 since it is reducing. So it is not, n is now not larger than 10, but it is equal still. So still we can do the operation or the iteration. So sum will be 52 by adding 10 or the n, and n will be reduced to 8. Then of course the cycle going to ends. So these are the things that you need to have in your answer sheet. So it's 16, 30, 42, 52 to sum, 14, 12, 10, 8 to n. Right? Yeah, 16, 30, 42, 50 to sum, 14, 12, 10, 8 to n. All right, people, for each row which you got correct, you can have 0.5 marks. Right, so there are 4 rows, so 0.5 for each. All right, so see how much you got out of 10. Then we can move to the next question, the second one, the Excel one. Yeah, who have done the Excel? All right, so let's go through. Consider the following spreadsheet segment, giving some statistics related to the certain education indicators for Sri Lanka. So here what they have given is, they have given the total schools, which is government government, private, and the PDN schools, and total students who are in the government schools, private, and PDNs, and the teachers, right? So they have indicated the source and all these things. And here comes the question. What is a single spreadsheet function that can be used in cell B3 to display the total number of schools for 2008? So B3 means this. So they are asking a single function. So you have to write the sum function here. So you can say equals sum. And you can clarify the range. That means from B4 to B6. So it's going to be B4 colon B6, or you can write it other way around, B6 colon B6, B6 colon B4, right? Or else you can write B4 comma B5 comma B6. Still those are correct, right? So let's refer the marking scheme as well. Yeah, as it shows you. Equal sign is a must, right? Remember that. Then the part B is asking what will be the formula displayed in C3 if the formula in B3 is copied to C3. Okay, so B3 is copied to C3. That means it's over here. So we don't have any absolute cell references. So it will shows you equals sum. Since it is copied through a row, along a row, it's the letter that is going to change. So it's going to be C4, B is going to become C4, and B6 is going to become C6, right? So it is going to be the answer for the part B. And student-teacher ratio, student/teacher ratio, government school is calculated by dividing the number of students in government school. Students in government school by total number of teachers in government school. So teachers in government school. What is the formula to be written in cell B14 to display the student-teacher ratio for government school? So cell B14 is this. So the ratio needs, first it needs the student in government school, total number of students in government school. Oh. So government school students, total number of government school is somewhere here. And total number of government school teachers is somewhere here. Oh, no, not there. I'm sorry. Is somewhere here. So B4 should be divided by B12, right? So the ratio can be generated equals B4 divided by B12, right? So that should be the answer. Let's refer the marking scheme as well. Oh my God, it's not B4, it's B8. What was the mistake I made? Did I refer the incorrect one? Ah, yes. Oh my God. My silly mistake. So this is going to be the students' government school ratio. It's B8. Sorry, people. I have gone to the total school part. So it's going to be B8 divided by B12. Right? So this is going to be 8 instead of 4. B8 divided by B12. Right? So be careful, very careful, right? Okay. So it is saying, suggest the most suitable graph type to show the comparison between the number of government school, private school, and pyramid for the given 3 years. Yeah, it should be the column chart or the bar chart, since it is talking about a comparison, right? So in the marking scheme, it says bar chart or column chart. So you are going to take 1 mark for each and every part. So for A, it's 1 mark, B, it's 1 mark, C, it's 1 mark, and D, it's 1 mark. Right, so that gives you 4 marks for the first part. And the rest for the true and falseness, you are going to have 1 mark for each. Let's see what are those. Right, it says it says state whether the following statement regarding the spreadsheets are true or false. You are required to write only the statement number A and F and true false. Yeah, so I'm going to mark it right over here. So it says the autofill facility can be used to copy a formula to a range of adjacent cells. Yeah, which is true. Right, if you have written a formula in a one particular cell, you can use the autofill facility. Autofill facility means what? This particular box that you are going to receive when you in the active cell of yours. So when you drag it from this particular red color indicated box, it's going to copy the things in a horizontal or a vertical manner. Then the B says text entries in cell get right aligned automatically by default. Right aligned? No, not right aligned. Text will be left aligned. Right aligned when figures, right? Api text it should be like this, right? So it is left aligned. So this is false. B is false. C, it is possible to get cell borders to appear on the spreadsheet printout. Yeah, once you activate the borders, we can have print them on the printout. So it is going to be, C is going to be true. It is possible to hide rows and columns in a spreadsheet. It is possible to hide rows and columns in a spreadsheet. Yes, it is possible. You can hide the rows and the columns, and later you can unhide those things. By pressing Control Home keys, the cursor is moved to cell A1. It is. Control and Home will move to the A1, so it is true. When Control plus Page Up keys are pressed, the active cell jumps to the next worksheet. That, of course, I have to check. Control plus Page Up. What is there in the marking scheme? So it's true, false, true, 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 and the last one is false. Control plus Page Up. Let's check whether it is there in your book or not. Yeah, it's only talks about the page up and page down. Yeah, so then we have to check. No, yes, baby. Daddy, it's not working. It's not working. No, wait. Okay. So let's see what happens when the, let me have 2 sheets. So I'm in the sheet 1. So I'm going to press the Control and Page Up. Hold on, people. So I'm pressing control and page up. Nothing happens. Page down. Yeah, it's like this, people. So see it clearly. Like look for the this sheet 1 and sheet 2 places, right? මෙතන හොඳට බලන්න. So I'm pressing control and page up. So it's changed the sheet. Yeah, sheet එකින් එක උඩට එනවා. If I say control and page down, it goes downwards. Right, then I'm page up both. Now if I press control page down, it won't do anything. මොකද එතනින් එහාට sheet එකක් නැහැනේ. So if I press control and page up, it moves along the sheet. Right, so anyway your answer is going to be a false one, because it says it was telling when compute control plus page up keys are pressed, the active cell jumps to the next worksheet. Next worksheet කිව්වම නේද ඒක ටිකක් ඉස්සරහක් ගැන කතා කරන්නේ නේද? වඩා හොඳයි කියලා තිබ්බනම් the sheet at your right කියලා. එහෙම වුණා නම් definitely wrong. So next worksheet කිව්වම නේද? Next කියන එක අපිට දෙපැත්තටම ගන්න පුළුවන්. Like it indicates the forward. So since because of that they have marked it as a false one. Right, so people, it's going to be like that for 1 mark for each true and false, right? So calculate how many you got out of 10. Yeah, confirm me whether it is clear or not. Right, great. And who did the second one? Right, so moving to the second one. Where is the second one? The third one, sorry, not the second. Yes, Heshani, the third one. Right, Daniel, I'm talking about it. So it is saying the XYZ Sports is a shop that sells sport items which are supplied to the shop by several suppliers. The shop maintains a database with 3 tables to store the items currently in the stock, their suppliers, and item purchased from the suppliers, right? Okay, so the item table is there to say what are the things with them in the moment at in the shop. Stock එක මොකක්ද කියන එක තමයි item table එකකින් කියන්නේ. So supplier table says who are the suppliers, right? And purchase table is talk about what have been purchased from which supplier on which date, right? And how many that you have purchased, right? So 3 different tables. So the questions, it says list 2 primary key fields and their table names in the above database system. So 2 primary keys. So item table, if you think about the item table, item ID clearly shows you unique nature, right? The I name, which indicates the item name, those are again unique, but we are not using the name as a primary key when we are having a good alternative, which is an item ID in here. and definitely not the stocks because it can easily be repeated, right? So for item table, it's going to be item ID. And supplier table, again, in the very same manner, we can use supplier ID, name and phone number, even though the phone number is unique, but we have something, like when we compare the supplier ID and phone, supplier ID will be a better choice, right? And for the purchase table, like the dates are different from each other, but if we think about practically, one supplier can supply, two suppliers can supply things on a one particular date. So date can be repeated easily. So we are not going to take the date alone. Supply ID, yeah, it is being repeated right over here. So it's not good for a primary key. And item ID, again, it is being repeated over here. And the count is also repeated here, and again it's not good for a primary key alone. So then we have to search for a composite one. So if we take supply ID and item ID, that is the nature that we are facing this particular questions. So S01 P03 in the first line, S03 P03 in the second line. So it seems neither supplier and the item ID. So yeah. Yes, now the thing is, even though we are seeing something unique regarding the supply ID and item ID, if you think practically, what's happened, this S01 supplier supplies the P03 item later on this date. So it is going to record in this particular place. So then if you take these two, it's going to repeat, which is a very practical situation. So in that case, we can choose all three, which is the date, supply ID and item ID, because practically, if supplier supplies some item on a particular day, he is not going to supply it again on the same day, right? He's going to supply it on some another day. So if you take the purchase table, you are going to say the composite key, which is date, supply ID and item ID, right? Eka therunada? Do you got any questions regarding that? How we figure that out, which is date, supply ID and item ID is going to be the composite primary key? Okay. Right. All right. So in the marking scheme, they are just given the clearer tables, or like the place we can the tables we can figure out the primary keys clearly, right? So it says item ID has item table, supply ID is for supplier table. Okay, in the next one, it says list the shop decides to add new item, tennis ball, a new item. Purchase 30 of them from supplier Rita. Right, so Rita is there already. Yeah, so we can see Rita is there already in the database. Right over here. Right, let me clear these things because it will mix things up for you. and they are going to purchase the tennis balls. So tennis balls are not in the item table. There is footballs, bat, netball, volleyball, right? So that means one new item is going to add to the item table, as well as since they are doing a purchase, we have to record it in the purchase table as well. So table names going to be updated, which is the item table and the purchase table. How the records are going to be, so a new item which is called P05 or something else, some other number which is not P01 to 4. This is going to be tennis balls. And they have purchased 30. Then your stock is going to be 30. And here it says they are purchasing it on 22nd of 9th. And the supply is going to be S02 because it is Rita who is supplying this. New item will be P05 and the count is going to be 30 as well. So that's going to be the answer. So for part A, item table and the purchase table. So the records, the one which I have written in green. So let me show you the marking scheme as well. Yeah, it's going to be like this. Right. So for the third part, a customer buys one volleyball and one bat. What table needs to be updated for this event? So one volleyball and one bat. It is a customer buying thing. So there is nothing to do with purchase table. It is regarding the supplier supply items. Nothing to do with supplier table, but the stock will get reduced. Neither. Like what are the things that they are going to buy? The customer, one volleyball and one bat. So what table or tables need to be updated? It is just the item table, right? And how the records are going to be updated. So like it's going to be P02 bat, now it's going to be 24 because bat is being taken. And a volleyball as well, so it's going to be 9. Right, so those two lines should be there. P02 bat 24, P04 volleyball 9. Right. So this is the way that you can have those things. You don't need to write those things in the order. You can have P04 at the beginning and P02 at the end, or vice versa. Right, so the marks are being categorized. Let's see how it's going to be. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. So like for the first part, 1 mark for each line, item ID, item table 1 mark, supply ID, supply table 1 mark. And for the second part A, 1 mark again, item table, purchase table 1 mark. For part B, you are going to take 2 marks for each. So item table and for the record 2 marks, purchase table and for the records 2 marks. Right, so let me write the marks right over here. So you are going to have 1 mark. This is going to be 2 marks. And for this particular part, it is 1 mark. Hold on. Yeah, let's go with like this. For naming the table, it's 1 mark. Write down in the records, it's 2 marks. Right, and it will give you some extra things as well. Hold on. So if I put 1 mark here and 2 mark here, it's going to sum up 6 plus 8. Okay, so let's go with like this. I'll give the 4 marks for this. Yeah. So 2 marks for the first part, 1 marks for the part A in second question, second part, 4 marks for the records. So record collects 2 marks for each. And 1 mark for the table and 2 marks for the record updation. So that will sum up 10 marks. Okay. So is it clear, people? Confirm me whether it is clear so far. Right, great. Okay. Right, so moving to the fourth question. Who has done the fourth one? Yes. No one has done the fourth one. Since it is explaining things. Okay, Danidu, you have done it. Right, so it is asking, assume that your friend says telemedicine is taking medicine from home by contacting a doctor over a phone. Explain why your friend's statement is incorrect. Write down an example to illustrate the correct use of telemedicine. Yeah, let's go by the marking scheme. So yeah, you don't need to explain this much. So you have to say medical professional, a junior doctor or a nurse should monitor the patient conditions to obtain reliable information about the patient's condition, right? So medication cannot be prescribed without those information. That necessity cannot be fulfilled only by contacting through the phone with the medication. So something like that, right? That idea should be there, right? So example is given, medical professional monitors the patient condition at a regional center, nursing home, rural hospital. That medical professional obtain medical advice or prescription from medical practitioner remotely over the phone, right? Something like that. It shouldn't be this exact words. The point එක කියන්න ඕනේ telemedicine කියන එක carry out කරන්න බෑ without a medical practitioner or a medical professional along with the patient, right? So there should be a one with the patient, and through that the one who is with the patient, the medical professional will contact over the phone and doing the telemedicine concept, right? So that should be, that idea should be written as well as the example should be written. The second one says, someone says that he illustrated a virus scanner on his home computer 6 months ago and that he has never had internet access at home. Explain why his computer may not have protection from the new virus attacks. And the virus guard was established or installed 6 months ago and he does not have a internet connection. So virus guard may not have been updated. Because of that reason, the protection for computer is not happening completely, right? It may happen partially, right? So because of that, that particular computer will be at a risk. So it says, even though he did not have internet access, there are ways of infecting his computer. Yes, again, through the use of external devices such as flash drivers and this thing. This happens because the virus definition database is not updated or commercial virus scanner may be expired. Yeah. So they have talked about both the scenarios, right? But in the question itself, it says, yeah. So yeah, you can talk about both as well as you can talk talk about the virus guard is not being updated, right? මේ වගේ ප්‍රශ්නකදී අපි ප්‍රශ්න කියවලා හරියට points ටික තියෙනවා නම් තමයි ලකුණු දෙන්නේ, right? Okay, so you should have this idea, right? Danindu, if you have any alternative answers, just let me know, right? Okay, and the third one says, explain one ethical issue related to the use of personal information stored on an information system. Your answer should include one example to illustrate an unethical act related to the privacy of the information. So ethical issue is going to be what? Someone can access to the personal information of someone else's and can be distributed and can be handed over to the third party. So likewise. All right. Lamai, mata tapparak denda. Right. Sorry, people. Right. So the third one says, explain one ethical issue. Yeah. So like we were talking about that. So let's figure out what is there in the marking scheme. So it says misuse of personal information, which is under one's own responsibility. So it is an ethical issue. A person who has authorized access to the personal information stored in a computer system provide this information without permission from owners of the information to another unauthorized party. Right? Again, there is a person who have given the authorization. අවසර දීලා තියෙන යාට යන්න personal informations refer කරන්න. Like හිතන්නකෝ hospital එකක patients details තියෙන තැනක් කියලා. Right? So the operator who is doing that, he has the authorization to access those data. And without the permission of the relevant people, he's handing over those to a insurance company, right? Which is an unethical thing, right? And the second one says accessing and sharing personal information with another party without owner's knowledge. Yeah, again, that is going to be a problem. A person providing personal information like name, address, and telephone number, email addresses of the customers of an organization to marketing promotional campaign. Yeah. එතකොට දැන් අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් නේද හිතන්නකො පීසා හට් එකක් එක්ක නේද අපේ details තියෙනවා ඒගොල්ලෝ ගාව. අපි online order කරනකොට they have our what you call the addresses, names, telephone numbers, and all these things. And they can Pizza Hut can hand it over to the McDonald's to do a campaign, marketing campaign. ඒක එහෙන් අපිට දැන් ඕක ගොඩක් වෙලාවට unethically සිද්ධ වෙනවා, right? Because there are like we are receiving so many SMSs. We don't know how they got our number, right? ඔකලගේ අම්මලා තාත්තලාගේ phones අරගෙන පොඩ්ඩක් නිකන් හොයලා බලන්න. They may receive in many different messages, but we don't know from where they have taken those things. Right? Okay. So yeah, so you can write one of these things, right? So for the fourth one, it says, your friend says that he does not need to back up his data as he has installed a firewall. Do you agree with him? State reason for your answer, right? So now he says he do not need any backups as he has installed a firewall. So firewall does not backing up things. Firewall is something blocks the unauthorized access to your system or to a network, but it won't help you to back up things. So so virus attacks and all these things will be what blocked or like will be taken care with by the firewall, but or the hackers as well. But there are many different ways that your computer have harms, right? It can have natural disasters, right? And it can have this like what due to the hardware life is over, so you can get stuck with the or like get over with the hardware things. So in that case, firewall won't protect your data from these particular things. So you may need a backup. Delete right? So you need a backup. So no one can argue that you don't need a backup because you have a firewall, because it won't cover everything regarding the data security, right? So that kind of an answer should be there. So it can says firewall does not fulfill the need of data backup in simply, so you can say no and simply say it is not. No. And the very last part, it says provide 2 reasons why one should not use pirate software. Provide two reasons why one should not use pirated software. Your answer should show issues related to the pirated software. Yeah. So when you are using the pirated software, you can have malwares can be came via that pirated software into your system, right? And it is illegal, right? And it is unethical, right? So those kind of reasons can be there, right? So when they are asking you to explain, it's better you have all these points, right? So the people who have done the question, it's better you have all these points. So each and every point, yes, it's hurting, right? Have it can have 2 marks for each and every part, right? Okay, so who have done the 5th one? Yeah, Sairi pirated software means, Sairi is asking what is pirated software. It is like this, Sairi. So there are two types of softwares, which are licensed one and free and open source one, right? So licensed software, we have to pay and buy the software license, right? But there are like many different sites in the internet, right, is there to download that particular software and can be activated using another software, which is a illegal thing as well as an unethical thing. But a lot of people are doing that, right? Even by myself, I have done several, right? Then I Windows දාගන්නකොට ඉස්සර Windows දාලා active කරනවා. Now I am having a license copy, but alright, පුතාලා මට තප්පරයක් දෙන්න. Okay, the fifth one. So in the fifth one, they are talking about the system development life cycle, right? So it says, assume that the monthly payment for T plugin employees in T state are calculated based on the weight of the T leaves that they pluck daily. The payment process is performed manually at present, and it is proposed to automate the process, right? Then may moment එක වෙන්නේ එක manually ඒක automate කරන්න ඒගොල්ලෝ තීරණය කරලා තියෙනවා. State two methods that can be used to understand the requirement of proposed system if the above process is to be automated. So there are many ways that you can use to understand the requirements. You can have interviews, you can have questionnaires, right? So many things can be used. So as the answer script shows you, interviews, discussions, questionnaires, observation, document reviews, and all these things can be there. So like they are asking just for two. So any two of these things, right? And part B. Part B is asking write down the input data and the output information of the proposed system. Yeah, write down the input data and the output information of the proposed system. Now the question says, let's go through the question again. Assume the monthly payment for T plugin employees in a T state are calculated based on the weight of the T leaves that they pluck daily. The payment process is performed. Yeah. So the input is going to be what? The weight of tea leaves. It's going to be the input, and the output is going to be monthly payment, right? So this weight of tea leaves is like have they said they are gathering it daily and calculating it for a month on the weight of the tea leaves. Yeah, so like it will be much clearer if you say the input, the weight of the tea leaves, or the daily weight of the tea leaves for a period of a month, right? Then the output will be monthly payment. Let's see how the marking scheme shows. Weight of leaves per each day and employee ID name. Yeah, okay. Or weight of tea leaves plucked by each person per day. All right. Yeah, it should be on that manner. So let me see whether that, okay, yes, it's monthly payment for each employee. Hold on. Do we need to write the each employee thing? Yeah, it's better since they have indicating about employees, right? It's better we say weight of the leaves per each day by an employee for each person per day, likewise, right? So there should be an indication, weight of leaves per each day. This particular one will be much appropriate. Because employee ID name කියන දේවල් අපිට හිතලා දාන්න පුළුවන්, but the requirement is weight of tea leaves plucked by each person per day. That will be a better answer. In the question they are not asking about anything neither. Write down the input data and the output information of yeah. So the weight of tea leaves per day per each person it will sum up the things. Yes, and output is going to be the monthly payment for each employee as it shows you, right? So you can write like salary, wages for each employee likewise as well, or the monthly payment for each employee. And the part C, unit testing is one testing method that can be used to test the above system. Write one other testing methods. So there are three other testing methods. So like unit testing is the smallest one. We checked unit by unit. And then after integration testing is carried out. So some units are gathered together and see whether they are integrated well and working together very well. So that is called the integration testing. And then all the units are being gathered together and make the entire system, and it is saying the system testing, which is tested by the project team. And then later they are doing the acceptance testing, right? So one of those can be taken as an answer, right? Integration testing, system testing, acceptance testing, functional testing. Yeah, I really don't know whether there is something called functional testing, and it is not a very good answer. Functional testing. You may go with these three: integration, system, and acceptance. Right? One of those can be taken as an answer. So D part, the newly developed software can be deployed using either a parallel implementation or direct implementation. Which method would you use? State one reason for your recommendation. Yeah, so it's better we use the parallel implementation, neither, because when the direct implementation is done, if in case if we go wrong with the new system, we don't have any backups. But with the parallel implementation, if we lead into some like some problematic point, we still have our old system with us. So it says parallel deployment because it is safe. It can run both system until there is confidence about the new system. Some idea like that. Right. So how the things are going to go. Yeah, 2 for each and every part. Take it like that. So part A is 2 marks, part B is 2 marks, part C is 2 marks, and part D is 2 marks as well. And the very final one, it is asking the order. Assume that you want to find information on environment conservation from the internet. The relevant activities involved are given in the list below. Write down the given activities in the correct order. You are only required to write down the labels of the activities in the correct order. So it says connect to the internet using the relevant software. Enter environment conservation as the search text. Log into the computer, open up a search engine. So log into the computer will be 1. So C will be at the beginning. Then after, open up a search engine, D will be next. Before that, you have to connect to the internet. So after C, it's going to be A. Then after, you can open a browser or a search engine. Then you can search what it is. So it's going to be CADB is the order. So let me see. Yeah, it's CADB is the order. Again, 2 marks. All right, so the time is 8:32. So we are done with the time. So we have to clear the 6th and the 7th, which we are going to discuss next week. Once we're done with the 6th and the 7th, we'll finish up that little part in the very last lesson. And as well as if we got the time, we can move to the 2014 paper. And people, by the first week of February, we are going to do the 2019 paper, right? Then 19th paper එක කවුරු කරලා නැතුව ඇති කියලා මම හිතනවා, right? අපි 19th paper එක මේ මොනවාද මේ time එකේදී පොඩ්ඩක් කරන්න try කරමු, right? ඒ කියන්නේ හරියට time කරලා කරගන්න. අපිට classes පටන් ගන්න පුළුවන් වුණොත් මම මෙතන තමයි 19th paper එක කරන්න ඉන්නේ for you to answer in the class, right? So we'll see කොහොමද කියලා අපිට ඊළඟ weeks දෙක එනකොට උත්තරයක් හම්බෙයි මොන විදිහටද රට යන්නේ කියන එක. So get prepared. So you have another 6 weeks for your examination paper. So don't expect whether it is going to be postponed. ඒක කොහොම හරි තියෙනවා, right? ඒක නිසා get prepared, right? Okay, I'll see you on next week for the very same time then, right? Have a nice weekend, people. Thank you very much. Right, okay, thank you very much all.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Right, okay.
Thank you, sir.
Right, okay.